Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to game number one between Jim Bob the Mighty and Pollina. It's going to be the first round in their 1v1 best of three. Once again, Philathanic going to be joining us today for some additional commentary. If you want to see his perspective, go ahead and check on over to his screen. Hello, Philathanic, and welcome. And what are you seeing about this map?
Okay, well, I was adjusting the sound really quick, so I didn't take quite a look. What I am noticing is, there's this nice patch of iron down here in the south of the colony, next to some aluminum, not too far away from the water. There are no nukes on the map. Pretty much everything is low for prices except for chems. And then the other thing that stands out at me, there's a whole bunch of low carbons in a row. Maybe pick that up second as a scavenger found. That's a possibility. All the silicon's up in this corner. Jim Bob decided to go with a robot.
Yeah, Pollina goes ahead and drops expansive right in the middle next to the water. I was a little surprised the water wasn't being prioritized a little more because water's extremely limited on this map. Pollina manages to just delete. I do not like these steel mill placements. I want to point that out very quickly. But Pollina deletes pretty much the only other reasonable water on the map. Leaves a few scattered mediums that Jim Bob can pick up. Now, as a robot, he's not going to be as concerned, but frankly, there's still likely going to be money to be made. So I'm a little concerned that water wasn't being prioritized a bit more by both players. But we've landed where we are, and we'll just have to see what they do with it from here.
Right, so Pollina should have enough water for her. The issue is obviously going to be with Jim Bob. Now, Jim Bob doesn't, as a robot, doesn't need it for life support, but he will need water if he wants to move in any of these life support markets, food, oxygen, fuel. Chances are he will want to do that.
Absolutely. Pollina being a little bit slow to get up to HQ level 2. This is the downside of a found like this one. In particular, with this iron so far away, those steel mills just weren't able to operate full time, not able to pull in steel as quickly, but you will be able to get to the upgrade before too long and go ahead and secure both of these water tiles is what I want to see. Just put something down. There we go. It's actually going to be double water pump. Not the best thing, but doesn't really cost a whole lot for the time being, so it should be all right.
Yeah, Pollina was helped a little bit because Jim Bob went for an aluminum first found, and he had enough iron to get to the upgrade, but his mills were turning on and off as he was waiting for his iron shipments to come in. And he went ahead and claimed a medium and a low iron, and that seems, well, that's a lot of iron coming in right now. They're not very easily switchable, so he might regret that in the future.
Well, I mean, they're close enough that I think he's going to be okay. There is this downside that you're going to end up with your buildings a little bit vulnerable to black market, but really only power surges that I'm particularly concerned about in this area. There's no like combo of slowdown, strike, EMP, and power surge all available, so it will be possible to link these up in the future. And I imagine that's what Jim Bob is going to be relying on with this particular found, because it is true that it's a lot of iron in some ways right now, but he kind of needed to, because just a single medium is not going to quite be enough to see him on through at the beginning of the game. Oh, those chem refineries are doing some... Not anymore.
No,
oh,
not
boy.
anymore.
Well, I'm sure that's all right for Pollina overall. You want to be able to make money in the chems, but frankly, glass is so cheap right now, you really don't need that much cash to be able to push through to an upgrade, although I'm not so sure about this Goon Squad purchase. That's a solid $3,000 now missing from a potentially very cheap and easy upgrade. And it's just not going to get anything done anytime soon, because what of your tiles are now going to be attacked? Honestly. They've already been hit. What's the point in buying a Goon Squad afterward?
Yeah, might as well at that point attack your opponent back. Now, Jim Bob does have a nice split on his base. The most he can shut off, Pollina can shut off, is 2 steel mills at once. And one of these steel mills is auto-offing right now anyway. So maybe in that case it makes a little bit more sense to get the Goon Squad, because there's really not much to attack. I suppose you could attack the metal mines.
I suppose, but I think this was an opportunity, maybe one of those rare times when you just say, you know what? I don't need to use the black market. I just need to get to HQ3. Because if I have HQ3, I have so much more stuff. Sold. And it's like I'm mitigating an attack in that fashion. But just by having so many things, you can't shut all of them down. Now, I imagine this goon is going to be saved for something like a geotherm. but we'll just have to see what ends up happening moving forward. That's a lot of steel from Jim Bob. I don't really like that. Chems are an easy market to be in right now, and steel is just actually not making you any money. This is always too much steel production in a 1v1 these days.
He has the carbon source. The only thing he's missing is fuel, so I really don't see why he's not going into these chems, which are 216 and climbing. He could have been making chems, selling it down, so that way when Pollina's chem refineries are back online, they'd be making less money.
Absolutely. It would have been a fantastic way to combo with the power surge. You can even just wait to sell down until your opponent's chem refineries come back online. Just try and see what happens. But that opportunity has been missed. The chem refineries are coming back, and Pollina's going to be able to still push to an upgrade pretty quickly. Not too far behind the robot with that cheap glass and easy source of chemical cash.
No, she's only 2k behind, and that, well, it's staying roughly about, but she's going to start catching up, especially if she puts down her extra claim. She has 2 more claims than Jim Bob does right now. Jim Bob's in a little bit of trouble because Jim Bob just fell into sea debt with that interest tick sitting at 96,000 in debt. He moved into a geotherm, which is goon squatted. That will cover his power, and but it won't pay down any of that debt.
Yeah, solar panels coming out as well, going to try and actually pay down some of that debt. That's just the other detail about all these steel mills, is when you have this many steel mills online, it just drives power prices so high. And Jim Bob not doing a huge amount of shipping, but it is noteworthy, the amount that's going on. Freeze on those solar panels, that is going to be painful for Jim Bob. He could recover, and I believe he should recover the one that's almost done, just move it over. Instead, he's just going to build an entirely new one. Still, though, was the opportunity to cancel out this solar panel, maneuver things around a little bit, so you had the resources on hand to just simply rebuild it elsewhere. But yeah, expensive power buildings are the steel mills, and that's cost Jim Bob quite badly at the beginning of this game.
A new claim is available for option.
Strong protection from Pollina there. Not going to eat that power surge too badly. Just one wind turbine being shut out for now.
Yes, if there are any newer players, or new players to the multiplayer scene on the stream or VODs in the future, right now the meta is to put your power production in a line like this, so that way, this is a perfect example, this goon squad here in the middle, it keeps the power surge from bumping past it. So worst, you only get one frozen out like Pollina has right here, and she's still pulling in just under 400 a second in power money right now.
Well, Pollina recognizing the value of 16,000 debt on your opponent is going to mutiny away this solar panel, despite the fact that we're about halfway through the day, and is going to let the claim go for $16,000. This is going to push Jim Bob down to a bit of a scary level in debt. He is recovering quite slowly from having an additional solar panel online, and of course his geotherm operational, but I don't know if he's going to get out of that C range. I find it very unlikely he's going to push out of that C range before interest ticks start moving in. And then he's going to be in that D level with all of these solar panels online, potentially killing the price of power. We'll just have to see how everything lands, but I would not want to be in Jim Bob's shoes right now.
No, he doesn't want to be in his shoes either. He's moving into 2 additional solar panels, which are completing just as night hits.
Market is online.
Well, he's thought better of the one.
Yeah, canceled out of some. So he's got 3 panels now, all spread around, which means they can't all be shut down by a power surge, but all doing nothing at the moment with night here. Let's check on this interest tick. Worth noting that Pollina's wind turbines are now pulling in cash, as little as that may be with power dropping in price.
Just under 20.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stays out of D, but not by much, and power prices keep falling. Jim Bob is going to have to keep a close eye on his debt. Good purchase of a cook the books, I think, this game. That can keep him in it. But however, I mean, HQ4 to HQ3, expansive to robotic, and Pollina is still just powering on through.
Right, this is a situation you never want to find yourself in as a robot. The expansive beating you to HQ4 as a robot and a scavenger. You need to outpace the expansive player to the upgrades just to maintain the competitive pace.
That's very true. And I mean, all of Pollina's production is pretty fantastic. It's spread around in a fashion that it's very difficult to shut down. However, the water is leaking just a little bit, not quite enough to cover costs on everything. And so there is an opportunity for Jim Bob to try and potentially shut that down after a stockpile has depleted, see if he can actually begin attacking this production. But for the time being, Pollina's just going to keep moving through. Could even consider going for the kill soon or taking HQ5. Doesn't really matter which one. Either way, it's going to be great. I honestly expect it to be going straight after Jim Bob's stock.
Right, 1v1, highly competitive. No reason not to go after somebody early, as there aren't two other players to worry about, like in the FFAQ. Pollina is holding on to one claim right now, hasn't decided what to do with it, perhaps waiting for this Pleasure Dome spot. The auction, she does win that Pleasure Dome spot for 16k. That seems like a reasonable pickup. It is going to provide 4 adjacency to the Pleasure Dome, so that will pull in 145.
Yeah, it's going to be a very nice little tile. Won't take long at all to pay for itself in terms of the cash spent. And the debt spent, not all that important, as power has fallen away and is no longer really a source of income. Hacker Array is down for Pollina, which once again helps indicate that it's going to be time to try and clean this game up quickly. That said, I think this is a situation where the Hacker Array was actually unnecessary. And I would have liked to see Pollina just go for the buy immediately, but we'll see what happens. We'll see how this goes.
Right, the Hacker Array, she is shorting chems, which
I wonder what goes on in
decided
there.
better glass. Glass shortage, she has a stockpile of it, going to increase that by about, what, $50 or so. That's probably able to bump her over the hump for the kill. Jim Bob can buy 2 stock in himself right now, and well, now he decided to build some stuff, so his stock price has gone down. He's moving into some chemical refineries, detached from his base, trying to chase that high chemical price.
Yep, and we'll see how that goes. Part of the problem with that, of course, is that it's going to be quite some time before these actually pull in any amount of money whatsoever. Hasn't had time to link them up to his base just yet. Hasn't gotten to HQ level 4 just yet. Pollina, why are you buying into your own stock? Don't do this.
I hope that means she's simply going to start buying into Jim Bob and then sell it to push her over the hump, but that isn't happening yet. So
yeah, well, here comes the shortage. We're all stacked in glass. Just as much as we possibly can be. 350 glass stored up. We'll see what happens after this short, but you can see we're holding steady at about 80% right now. Needs to push up to that 100 and a little above potentially to actually make it on through.
A nice move by Jim Bob, mutinying both of Pollina's water, forcing her to turn her farms off, although they are making, well, not anymore, they're only making $1 or $2. But I don't think it will be enough. Pollina is going in for the kill. Jim Bob does not have enough to defend himself. This auction is going to prolong the game.
I mean, you could take it as Pollina. It's just basically free cash. Jim Bob's going to end up with it. It looks like Pollina has no interest. Just going in for the kill right now. Still plenty available to keep continuing through this buy. Not quite enough. Oh, there we go. Now we're going to be finishing it up. Where did that money come from? Oh, sold down her stock, of course.
Yes, the stock play I mentioned earlier. So Pollina takes game 1 in a very convincing manner. Picking, I think, was the better found next to the source of water, and then some misplays on Jim Bob's part. I'd say at HQ 2 to 3 range, not pulling in enough cash.
Well, I mean, it honestly felt like Jim Bob misplayed at almost every opportunity that game. I think it was a bad found when water was so important in this game. That's where so much of Pollina's cash came from, was water, because those habitats are going to make those plenty of money anyway. Mm-hmm. And then on through HQ2 was kind of fine, given the situation you were in. You need to secure some steel. That's okay. HQ3, though, I think is where everything seriously fell apart. There was no money being made. There wasn't enough power generation. There was too much steel online. Just a poor choice of buildings to expand into at HQ3, and then he just never went anywhere from there.
Right, stuck at HQ3 for the rest of the game is a recipe for losing, unfortunately. So just looking here at the balance sheet, the Pleasure Dome Pollina got paid for itself off by 1k, but considering that was cash for debt trade-off, she did not care one bit.
So kind of 7,000 because it cost about 10,000 to put that Pleasure Dome down in actual cash.
It was an auction for
That's
16.
It was a tile auction though.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, she had to actually pay for the Pleasure Dome itself, unfortunately. But still works out all right. Still works out. Makes some money. I don't know if it was absolutely necessary to clean up the game, but that's all right.
Yes. Jim Bob here, auto purchasing 70k in power with those 4 steel mills online.
That'll do you in pretty fast. I don't know if there's much more to talk about with this one, honestly. Don't put down 4 steel mills at the start of the game when your opponent already has 2. I think the only time you can get away with that is when steel started at $120, frankly. And even then, it's a risky move for a robot.